So this is Thanks for Your Money, and we're going to play 3-bet pots out of position with an emphasis on wet boards on PLO. So we're going, as the out of position player, we're going to have different kind of holdings. We're going to have a hand which is a check folding hand. So this is going to be characterized as a hand with no blockers, no equity. We would have a check calling hand, which is going to be either a very strong and invulnerable hand, a medium strength hand, or a way ahead or way behind hand. Then we're going to have check raising hands. Those are hands that do not mind giving free cards when in position player checks. Strong yet vulnerable hands, or semi-strong hands, two ways. Then we're going to have a bet folding hand, which is a hand that is too weak to check call, but which has some blocking properties in form of gut shots, and which have some equity in form of gut shots or backdoor flush draws. And then we're going to have a bet calling hand, which is a strong yet vulnerable hand when in position player checks. And I'm going to explain what do I mean when in position player checks with our examples. So yeah, we want to be the first to speak. So Queen 10-5, probably not a lot of donking here, only 14% in fact. This is a very strong hand, which we're probably going to check raise, I would assume. And yeah, it's a hand that when it goes check, it's unlikely that the in-position player is going to have a straight, so we are quite happy with almost every turn. So let's say he bets 50. I think that we have to check raise here just because our hand is strong, but it's not that strong. Any ace, king, jack is going to give us troubles. Even a 5. So we just want to check raise. 3-7-9 again. We do not want to lead that often here. In fact, we're only leading 5% of the time. 3-7-9 it's without backdoors. It's tempting to fold, although we have the ace king, which is blocking a bit the ace king. But yeah, it's without a backdoor. I think it's just a fold here. Even with backdoors, apparently it's just a fold. What I was thinking is that with the ace king, it's kind of nice that we are blocking aces and kings, but the playability of the hand, I guess, is not that great, so we are just folding even with one backdoor. Okay, king queen 4. Probably have some leads here. Yeah, 23%. 10 jack. This is too weak to call. I think we do not want to bet. I mean, I don't think we can check call because our draw is just too weak. And I don't think we can bet fold either because we do not have good blocking properties. Okay. The correct answer is bet. That's surprising. Well, we have the jacks and 10, but I didn't think this was enough to bet fold. With one heart, I think it's more appealing, but without one heart, I think it. I would say this is close, and in fact, we are sometimes checking. And of course, if we bet and get raised, we are going to fold this combo. That's because our equity is so bad. D6-8. We're almost or always checking. Ace King Jack 8 with just one backdoor, I think, and it's interesting this. I think it's close. Okay, calling. So yeah, one pair is enough to call with the Ace King Jack 8. Even without backdoors is enough. Do you say 9? Okay, we can lead like 20% of the time. So we could, of course, we have a very strong hand, at least right now, so we could bet call, or we could check raise. I think this is probably better to check raise, because this is a hand that do not mind giving free cards when in position player checks, meaning that if in position player checks, it's somehow unlikely that he's going to have a flush draw. So because of this, I think it's better just to check raise this hand instead of bet calling. And we are bet calling, although it's mixed, so it will go, so it's not incorrect to check raise. Instead, I would opt to check raise this hand just because the in-position player is probably going to c-bet a bit too often. For example, here we do not have any pair, and because we do not have any pair, it's a bit more likely that our opponent is going to bet. Therefore, I think I would check raise this. I know we are bet calling, but I mean, it's kind of mixed. but also a bit mixed here. This is we have backdoor spades. Our hand is a bit too weak to call, so I think bet folding seems nice with those sevens and the backdoor spades and the pair of eights. So yeah, this is a bet folding hand. I think check raising here seems, or check calling, I bet. Okay, but just because we have the ace, the queen of hearts, if it was like the ace four of hearts, or the ace four of hearts, it's going for the I don't know if check call or check raise. This is going to be a check raise hand. The reason is that we do not mind giving a free card, because if we give a free card and the heart rolls off, I think we have the nuts. I mean, our hand is going to be very strong. So here, if he bets like 50, well, with this hand we're going to pot. And the question is with the ace queen 5-4 with hearts. So ace queen 5-4 with just hearts and no pair, no gut shot, is going to be just a check call. In fact, I'm curious against a pot size bet. What do we do with the, so 8-9, 10-7. This is probably a check call. I'm curious with the ace queen 5-4 hand. With this, I think we're going to call. Yeah, I mean, our hand is not that strong. With the ace queen 5-4, okay, in hearts, we're just calling. Now we have, well, this is going to be a check for sure with the ace queen 5-4 and no pair. We are still going to check. The problem is that we are going to check almost all our range. So even ace queen 5-4 without any pair, we just need to check most of the time. If it was a 50% bet, let's see. Our hand is very strong. Here I think I would just bet, just because we have the ace and the king of hearts, and therefore I think we're blocking too much the c-bet, the hands that are going to bet on the position player. Check, continue. If he bets 50% pot, let's say we call because we do not have any pair, and now a heart rolls off. Let's say the 3 of hearts. So I think probably here we have to check as well, just although we do not have any pair and we would like just to pot it. The problem is that we are not going to have many nut flushes here. Yeah, so we're going to check the 100% of our range just because most ace X of hearts are check raising the flop if they have a pair, but without a pair it's just a call. And therefore when we arrive to the turn we do not have a lot of nut flashes. Let's do another spot. Four, 6, 8. I guess we're allowed to lead here. %30 of the time, so it was not that far off. I think we have showdown value here. I think I would like to check raise this probably, but no, I mean it's probably better just to donk. I think now I would raise. Okay. $499. Yeah, we are always checking this. So we are always checking this, except this very particular hand. But yeah, just so we are checking. We are also betting this. I mean, yeah, I'm not that sure why we are betting this combo. The thing is, do we check raise with a 9? The answer is maybe 50 or 60% of the time we check raise a 9. 55% we raise. And the kind of hands that are going to check raise are mostly going to be hands that do not contain hearts. Well, in fact, you tend to check raise hands that contain 0 hearts or that contain 2 hearts. The reason is that if a heart comes on the turn, then you are not sure if you are ahead or you are behind. Therefore, you just want to put the money while you are ahead. With 1 heart, you can call a bit more often. It's also going to depend on the strength of your hands. If you have something like Ace King Queen 9, and now you are going to call, well, if you have the Ace of Hearts, for sure you are going to call with the Ace King Queen 9. Okay, with the King of Hearts, Ace King Queen 9 with the King of Hearts, you are going to call as well. Your hand is just too strong. I think we have to check this like 100% of the time. 5, 6, 8. It's not that dynamic of a board. You either have 7, 9 or you don't. I think this favors a range. We probably have more 7, 9s and more sets. 44%. 44%. Wow, this is a lot. Here we have a 7, and we have 2 10s. I think I would like to have a heart though. To have backdoor spades, I guess. I don't think we can check call though. Yeah, it's close. With backdoor spades we're actually calling just because we have a gut shot and we have a pair of 10, we have some showdown value. 5, 6, 8, I think this is just too strong to lead, because if we lead we probably have to call a raise, but then we are not ahead, so this is probably a check calling hand. We are racing. We are racing here. Yeah, I guess the playability for hand is so bad that we just want to raise. But this is interesting flop. Sometimes those small pairs are played as a bluff. Yeah, seems counterintuitive, but sometimes, yeah, the worst pairs of our hand are played as bluffs, and it's also nice to have that we have backdoor spades, and we're blocking with the 5 as well. Okay, new spot. Okay, king deuce 8. You probably have some leading hands here. Okay, 17%. This is going to be probably a check fold. Even with spades, probably a check fold. Even with the spades. So yeah, with the spades it's just a check fold, and interestingly enough, with hearts it's just a check call. So this would be a way ahead, way behind kind of scenario. I mean, yeah, way behind if we are up against something like kings or something like that. But yeah, let's say this is a fold. This is a fold. This is a fold. We're blocking the king of hearts, but I think we're going to pot because we do not have a hard draw. Although it's tempting just to call, to be honest. With this we're going to call for sure. I mean, our hand is just too strong. And if a hard also, well, here we're going to check for sure. If he bets, and now we're probably going to raise, I guess. Oh, we're just calling here. If this is a hard though, here we would just call, I guess. Then we would just call. With this could be a nice check raise, I guess. Oh, we're just calling. That's interesting. So yeah, with kings we're just calling. If this was, I don't know, a 4 and he bets, now we're going to pot probably. So yeah, without hearts we're going to pot. With hearts we could actually call. Okay, this is interesting. It's more dynamic board. Okay, 40% of the time we can lead. This is... I think this is a hand that I prefer to check raise this combo, because if we bet any heart, 7, 8, jack, queen, or king, we don't know where we stand, so I think it's just better to play this as a check raise. Yeah, also the fact that we do not have any heart is going to make our opponent bet a bit more often. So this is something to consider as well. With one heart, we tend to bet a bit more this. So yeah, if he bets now, I think, do we 50, 70, 90? Well, I wouldn't raise 50%, I would pot it here, but we're just calling here. I guess because the option is just to raise 50%, therefore it's going to be very hard on the turn to play. And with hearts we would raise, just because the hand that we are more afraid of is hearts. If, I don't know, a 3 comes, I think we have to check. We're potting here. We're potting. So we're waiting for a safe turn and then we pot. Okay. It's very interesting, yeah, the fact that we pot the turn. This is something that the player pool is not doing very often at all, just because they are normally check raising with the nuts on the flop. This is also okay, 43%. We do not have any pair, any 6, any 7, so it's kind of a disaster if we bet and they raised us. So I think I would just check call probably. With a spade, I think now I would pot. We're checking. Okay, we're checking our whole range. It's a bit weird. I mean, on the other flop we were just potting sometimes. Well, I guess the other flop contained a flush draw on the flop, so that's why it's probably a more wet board than this one. So yeah, I guess that makes a difference. This 9-10. Okay, 24% of the time. I don't think we can bet this because if we bet and all the money goes in on the flop, our equity is not going to be that great. So I think this is, and also if we bet here, the turn is going to be very hard to play. Still with hearts, we would bet. Now the thing is, if they bet 50%, what do we do? Um, I think I want to check raise here just because we have a pair of tens, but the turn is going to be a nightmare to play because our outs are not to the nuts. And we are raising. With two spades and one heart blocker, we are raising. Without the heart, we would just call. So this kind of makes a difference. This 6-10, this is very quite dry board. Okay, we're checking our whole range. This is 3. For a 10. This is pretty interesting board. Just because in 5, 6, 7, 9, Jack, Queen. It's going to change the nuts, any heart. Okay, this is going to be a check fold probably. We're blocking a bit with the 2 jacks and the 7 of hearts. Okay, we're betting. I didn't thought that this was enough, but yeah, apparently it is. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we kind of have like three blockers. 1, 2. Also the pair of 8s. So we're going to bet fold this one. I think so. We need 37% equity with backdoor spades. I think we have to call here. And this is an easy pot as well. Any 7, 9. This is okay. We have the 2 9s and the 10, but we do not have a heart. So I think it's a calling probably. That folding seems a bit too weak here. If he pots, I think we're just calling here. Wait. I think it's at disaster to give a free card here on arrest on this scenario. Any 5, 6, 7, 9, even a queen is problematic, so I think it's just better just to bet this. Here we have a pair of tens. I think that giving a free card is not a disaster, because if we give a free card, it's unlikely that our opponent is going to have a flush draw. Therefore, it seems like a viable option to check raise this. Oh, we're just betting, although it's kind of mixed strategy. With 0 hearts, we are check raising probably. Or we're probably calling and expecting to see a good turn, I guess. This is not a good turn. Let's say, I don't know, a 7. I think now I would just spot. We're checking. That's kind of mixed strategy. With 1 heart, we're checking quite often. If we have the backdoor spades, now I think that our opponent is going to be on a flush draw quite often. A bet small. Okay, just 20%. This is probably a bit too weak to check call, just because we have the ace king of spades, and therefore we're not going to get paid if a spade draw comes, and we just have 1 gotcha, no pair. So I would rather bet fold this instead than of check calling. Okay, we're checking this. Let's see, he bets. Are we going to call here? I think yeah, now we're folding. It's just not enough, and also we're not blocking any pairs. So Jack 8-8, we have to check this a lot, I guess. 15%. It's going to be a check with a jack. We are just going to lead 20% of the time. This is going to be a check call, I guess. A raise. So this hand is just so strong that it's tempting to check call. On the other hand, we do not have hearts or an 8. However, because it's a 3-bet pot, there is not that much money yet to play, so I think we have to call here. If this was a single raise pot, I think we can check raise this. And even if it's a 3-bet pot, we're going just to check raise. Although there is not that much money yet to play. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we do not have an 8, that we do not have a heart, it's unblocking the continuation range of our opponent, and therefore we just want to raise here. If we had like ace jack jack 4 with hearts, or even with just one heart, we're calling. Very interesting. Queen jack 7, I think we can lead 30%, 20% of the time, 20%. I think this is just, we do not have any pair. Also only the 8 gives us the nut, we have backdoor spades. I think we have to check fold this. Just okay, we're calling. Yeah, it's close though. With the backdoors, it's a bit more appealing. If it's not the nut flush draw, then we are just going to fold. Deuce 6-8. Just 12%. Here. Bet calling, it's kind of a disaster just because our equity is going to be very bad. I guess we can check call. If he pots it, I think we're going to call and try to play some turns. Just because any jack, 7 or spade or 8 is going to be very strong. So jack a6 into 7, non-hard 7, so 10 into spades. Even a 5 could give us the winner, so I think we're going to call. And we're folding, but it's pretty close though. For a 50% bet, I think we would call. This is a check, and I think this has to be a check raise here, because we do not have any heart. We're just calling here. Eights and hearts we would just call, but without a heart, well, it's kind of mixed strategy. Well, this is pretty disastrous turn. I think we're just spotting here. I guess that the river is going to be a disaster to play, so we just, even if it's the, I don't know, the 3 of spades or something like that, I think we would just spot. Now we're checking this one. Well, it's kind of mixed strategy. I think we can lead. Yeah, 44% of the time. This is just too weak. Have a pair of deuces, but that's the 2 of hearts. I think we have to. With the ace of hearts, we would actually bet 50%. And with hearts and spades, we can just bet call it off, but with just hearts, we would just check call. This is interesting. We're not blocking that much. If he bets 33, we're not blocking hearts or 6 of 9. We have backdoor spades. I think it's close, this. Okay, we're calling with backdoor spades. Without backdoor spades, it's just a fold. Okay, it's 10-9. This has to be. Okay, 6%. This is a check. I think this could be maybe a bet fold. I don't really wanna check call or. Okay, we're checking. I wonder if we're check raising this. I think we're probably going to check call actually. Yeah, we're going to check call and then try to bluff on the turn or the river. with the king of spades, no pair blocker, well, just with the 10, we are actually going to raise 50% here. But the problem about raising here with the king of spades alone is that our opponent is probably going to call with aces, because he kind of needs 40% equity, and he's going to have close to that. Let's see. Board ace of spades, queen of spades, five of spades, and he has aces, and we have king of spades, six of spades. Yeah, he kind of needs 35% equity, and here on this spot he needs to put 160 in order to make 400, so he needs 40% equity. So if we are bluffing sometimes, then he's going to arrive to this 35% of equity. So it's a clear, I mean, yeah, let me show you. So we raise, continue. Now with aces, with I don't think he's going to fall actually. So let's say he checks, bet, and now with aces. You see he's never folding with aces. In fact, he's sometimes raising with a spade. He's raising with a spade, calling with spades, obviously calling with... I mean, if he has something like this, king 5. Although he's not going to have that because he would have checked the flop. If he calls and say a 6 or whatever, and he pots, he's going to call with aces most of the time, because at this point he needs like 29% equity, although he has 25%. It's going to depend. If he has something like ace 3 or ace 7 5, if he's drawing smoothly, he's going to call. If he has something like ace 10 or ace 9 ace 9 6, now he's going to fold. That's because he has less outs. Or ace 9 king, yeah, ace 9 king, he's going to call, so he's going to fold sometimes when he has like 2 pairs, something like that. Okay, let's practice flop play, 3-bet pots, cutoff versus button, 3 4 6. I think we have to check this somehow often. I think it's tempting just to yeah, with one backdoor we call, with two backdoors we call, with one backdoor we call. I mean, with one backdoor we raise. So three, 7, 8. I think we have a clear raise with the block spades. Also, he he has spotted here. So even if we have hearts, even with something like this. Now with the aces, we're probably, and we're still going to raise just because he's spotting here, so he just needs 30% equity. This is going to be a check. Now we're going to bet. Because we do not have any pair. King 10-4, it's probably just a check here most of the time. 2-3-4. I think I wanna call here. I don't necessarily want to use my blockers right now. Although with the ace 6 of hearts, then you would just raise, just because you have very strong blockers and do not flush draw. 2-3-5. It's close. With two backdoors, you could actually go and bet 50%. I think I wanna call here. We have the second nut. What's interesting is 2-3-4 here. If we are check raising the turn, I don't know, 10 or whatever. The ace 5, queen jack. We are actually leading quite a bit here. Yeah, with these 5 we're just spotting here. What happens if he pots? We're just going to pot. I mean, our hand is just too strong and he's not going to have many 5-6s on his range. I think I'm going to call here, and it's possible to put it all in on the turn on a spade, I would guess. Queen jack deuce. Just kind of mixed strength. I mean, it's medium strength hand. You do not really want to bet call, although you would have to bet call if you bet. I think this would probably be like a check call, or maybe check raise could be a viable option. Also having the kings, the queen blocker, and the open-ended. And also because your outs are not to the nuts, so I mean, you don't know if you are ahead or behind on the turn, so maybe you just want to check raise. And now 10, Now I think I wanna fold here. So yeah, this was a hand that it was a bit too weak to check call, just because because it's not very nutted. Only, yeah, it doesn't have any nut outs on the turn, because the 10 is going to give us the second straight, so it's just a bit too weak to check call. But with the 9 on the backdoor spades, it was selected as a bet fold. I think raising here our hand is just so strong. It's not that we're going to check raise that often on ace high boards, but here, yeah, our hand is just very strong. Especially with the backdoor spades as well. 2, 3, 4. Now we have to fold, I guess. We bet having the 5 blocker and a gut shot and backdoor spades, which seems like an ideal hand to bet fold. 4, 5, 10, probably just a call. We have a pair of 7s, a raise. Raise. If we raise though, are we going to fold? I don't think we can fold if we raise. Ace queen 7-3. Ace queen 7-3. It's interesting. Well, we have one gut shot, one pair, the queen high flush draw. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just a raise, just because if we are up against the nut flush draw, we still have some outs. It's kind of like, it would be a semi-strong two-way kind of hand, I guess. Yeah, it's a semi-strong because it has already a pair, so we have some showdown value, and also has a queen high flush draw, which is strong but not super strong, and therefore you probably just want to stick it in, just because turns are going to be difficult to play if you just call, since your hand is you're not drawing to the nuts, and then yeah, you are expecting that one of your either your mate hand or your draw is good, so you just want to stick it in here. So yeah, if we raise with this queen 7-3 and he pots, we are of course going to just call, just because we are doing fine against anything. 5 of hearts, 4 of hearts, ace of hearts, ace of spades, ace of hearts, and we have the ace. Let's say we have the ace of clubs, 7 of diamonds, queen of hearts, 3 of hearts. Yeah, we just need 30% equity, and even if we are up against aces with hearts, we are, I mean, we're not going to have 30%, but we're going to be close. Yeah, in fact, we do have 32% equity, because if he has hearts, then we are blocking him from having hearts. And this is really the worst scenario, and he's going to have sometimes aces with a gut shot and no hearts, or yeah. So I think this is a perfect example of a hand which is too weak to bet, because if we bet, we don't know whether our draw is good or not, so we're just going to check and check raise. Yeah, so I think this makes perfect sense. Okay guys, have fun.